All right. Welcome, namaste, everyone, to today's webinar on understanding Isavasya Upanishad based on the Advaita, Vishishtvaita, and Dvaita commentaries. We have a few speakers and panelists today, including Sri Krishna Kashyap ji. But let's just start with the Upanishads, which are considered the source of the core concepts of Hinduism, such as Brahman, Atman, Karma, Samsara, Moksha, and they're dated anywhere between 700 BC to 300 BC. We're not going to get into the details of the dating in this webinar. In this webinar, we will be discussing the various aspects of why should one study the Isavasya Upanishad, listed as the first of 10 major Upanishads based on 3 different Vedantic systems, the Advaita, Vishishtvaita, and Dvaita systems. We're going to get into some details there. And we're also having a course on this, and this will be an opportunity to hear from different Sanskrit experts who understand Vedanta. We got Professor M.A. Alwarji and Professor Padmanabhanji also joining Krishna Kashyapji. So with that brief introduction of the webinar, let me just jump into introducing Sri Krishna Kashyapji. Krishnaji, your camera got turned off. Maybe we could turn that on again. And I don't know if Dr. Ulwa, Professor Ulwa, you can turn on your camera.
I'm trying to get Dr. Padmanabhan online. He has some problem with the link, actually. That's why.
Okay, I'll resend him the link.
Can you send the link clearly so that he not in like hidden or something, that way he can click or something?
He can join just the regular thing and then promote him, but the Zoom link as a panelist comes from Zoom, so he's got to be able to
Zoom
find
itself,
that.
right? Yeah. So do you want to just forward it, just a regular link for him or something for now, or?
I resend him the panelist link again. You should have it, but I'll resend him the regular link as well.
Okay.
Sorry for that little delay, resending, and then I'll give him the regular link as well. Sorry about the delay. If anybody else wants to, one of the students, if you want to just, oh, we got participants raising their hand as well. All right, yeah, so we'll take questions and all of that.
Yes.
All right.
Hello. I'm ready.
Okay, so let me introduce our lead speaker and our faculty for this webinar, Sri Krishna Kashyap, who is an engineer and businessman by profession. He holds a master's degree in engineering from University of Iowa from the United States. He's currently retired and lives in India after working for almost 40 years in various areas of technology, business, many different companies. But it's because he has devoted a significant amount of time to the study of Vedanta, Sanskrit, and yoga for several decades from many traditional teachers, and he's developed a deep interest in recognizing the similarities and differences across the 3 great flavors of Vedanta, Dvaita, Dvaita, and Vishishtvaita. And that's why he's on our webinar today. He studied Sanskrit Vyakarna, Kavya, and Tarka under Maha Mohopadhyaya, Sri N.T. Srinivasa Iyengar, and other esteemed acharyas and teachers. He's delved deeply into the Upanishads, Brahma Sutras, the Bhagavad Gita commentaries of the 3 great acharyas, Sri Shankaracharya, Ramanacharya, and Madhvacharya under Vidwan Sri Sampat Iyengar. And he's done so much in over these decades, and more recently he's been teaching at Hindu University of America, really delving into the different flavors of Vedanta, and he's been a pleasure to have at Hindu University of America, and it is shown because many of his students have joined us after taking his course and want to continue to engage and share their experiences because he has clarify so many of these big concepts. I'm having problems just pronouncing some of the names, but he's able to delve deep and explain and get other people along and answer questions and all those wonderful things like a great acharya does. So with that brief introduction, let me hand it to Sri Krishna Kashyapji to get us started on today's webinar. Krishnaji, let me spotlight you and let's get started.
Thank you very much, for a wonderful introduction. I hope I match what you said. Okay. Anyway, namaste to everybody. Here we have, let me do one thing. Let me give you a quick introduction to this webinar. And before that, I want to just take, is it possible to take a, feedback from people as to how many people have they know about Upanishads in general? Do they know about Upanishads? Can we just take a quick survey or something?
Yeah, give me 2 minutes minute and a half while I set that up, and I'll run that as a poll.
Ankurji will send you a survey just to find out if you know something about Upanishads. That's all. Just a quick survey that will help me understand the audience in general, right? That's one thing. Second thing I want to let you know is that will also guide me as to how I should present, what I should present as an introduction. That's the reason. At this time, I'd like to take an opportunity to introduce another speaker, Dr. M.A. Alvar, who is also my teacher. And he's a faculty at HUA also. He teaches very advanced courses in Vedanta. He's a full-time Vedanta professor in Karnataka University. And he has studied under great acharyas, including my own Acharya Sri K.S.V. Swami. So we are very glad to have Alvar on the call today. And I would like to make this interactive and not give you a very big introduction and things like that, but I'll quickly summarize so that there are so many people listening today, more than 70 people listening today. I would like to give a little bit of an overview, okay? So let me share my screen quickly.
And I got the poll up, just how well do you know the Upanishads? Please answer, and after Krishnaji gets that going, we'll reflect on that. Okay. Take a second, fill it out. We've got, like Krishnaji said, over 70 people. So
you want to give about like 3-4 minutes, 5 minutes or something? Very good then. Okay. Let me I'm going to share this. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay, very good. So this is actually a PowerPoint I created last time. I'm just going to reuse it now. Okay. I don't want to go much about this. Quickly, why Vedanta? That comes up, right? Why are we here? What are we studying? Why Vedanta? That comes up. And immediately we know that everybody is looking for something, right? We're looking for happiness in some way. From creatures to human beings, we don't know how to get it, but we are looking for happiness. Where can one find happiness? We try different things out. We don't know. If this doesn't work, something else. But somehow we are missing that final bliss. I want to ask you guys one question. Why do we look for happiness? What is that makes us look for happiness? I want you to think about it a little bit. Because there's a nature, right? There's a nature, like water is cold, fire is hot, like that, right? There's a nature of human beings. Human beings or any living being looks for happiness and comfort constantly. There's a reason for it, because we are made of happiness. We came from happiness. We came from bliss. We are made of ananda. That you cannot change. You will never be able to change your nature. We are all stuck with that nature. Now, to look for happiness, we say, okay, maybe if we can make money, lots of money, then we will get a lot of happiness. So obviously, many people will go towards comforts, big homes, a lot of money. That's a natural way to figure out that, oh, I can find happiness here. Every one of us will look for that, almost, right? So, but still, there are other issues. We have to be young, because if we are too old, if we are sick, we are not able to experience and enjoy happiness. So we need health. All these things we look for, right? Most people look for happiness outside themselves, and it's a trial and error method. So we go out through our senses. That's the only connect we have to the world. Through the senses, we seek and try to find permanent happiness. We don't get it. How much ever we could go extend that to ego, fame, charity, compassion, many, many other things, but we don't really seem to be happy about it. Always we look for something else. That means we are not satisfied. So we are all looking through the senses. So we are all like frogs in a well. We think that this is what this whole universe, our experience is only what we experience through our senses. But there's something beyond it. We don't look for it. What is that? The ultimate happiness is not through just mind and senses. It has to be something beyond. What is that? The Vedas say no old age. That is, if suppose we have no old age, no thirst, no hunger, no disease, no death. This makes it much more powerful. As well, this is really happiness in some way, right? And all my desires should come through. I should never be upset about, oh, I did this did not work, this plan didn't work. We shouldn't have that kind of a feeling. All our desires should come through. So this is not possible in our regular state through the senses. We need to go to a state beyond our normal three states of sleep, wake, and dream. This is what the Vedas say. So there is a fourth state. If you get to the fourth state, you will find permanent happiness. Long time back, one may ask, where did this Vedas come from? We have this unique literature in India. How did it come? Long, long time back, thousands of years back, the rishis sat down and then thought about it. They figured out what makes really people happy. So they worked on it. Like how the modern scientists may work on artificial intelligence or some particular subject, they wanted to focus on how to bring happiness to everybody. They went to the fourth state by concentrating, by doing meditation, tapas. They could visualize everything directly. That is the beauty about the fourth state. You know the truth directly because you see. And that is why those rishis are known as Rishayaha Mantra Drashtaraha. They saw reality as this. And they could teach others too how to see reality directly. So there was no communication through words before. But later on, that ideology of how to communicate direct realization became weaker and weaker. People didn't understand it. Later on, next generation, they lost that technology or ideology or the knack to do it. So later on, they had to write down. That's when the rishis spoke about it. And that became the Vedas. What they saw, they repeated. They heard this, and that came to the next generation. So we have thousands and thousands of verses of Vedas with information in it. And that was given to us from our prior rishis and their lineage. But what we don't know here is how to directly realize. That is a technique only few know. They can give a diksha or something to others to realize truth. But that has become a trickle down because not many people can get to that state or teach that. Quickly. So a long time back, Haribhadra Suri said there are 6 Astika systems. Astika systems is they believe in the Vedas. They are Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Mimamsa, Vedanta, Sankhya, Yoga. These are all Vedic systems. But this was done by Haribhadra Suri. But if you look at the sources of information, that is different for us. The Indian sources of information are these. There are 14 sources of information which give you, and they are known as Dharma or Vidyasthanas. They are the 4 Vedas And the Upangas are Mimamsa, Nyaya, Purana, and Dharma Shastras. And they have different purpose. Mimamsa to explain, to understand the meanings of the Vedas, Nyaya for logical analysis, Puranas stories to simplify Vedic teachings, Dharma code of conduct. So to learn this, there were 6 angas. The angas are like Chandas, Vyakarana, Nirukta, Jyotisha, Kalpa, and Shiksha. And Dharma Shastras are contained, they contain the Bhagavad Gita, Mahabharata, Ramayana, Yoga, Agamas. All these are contained in that. So some are directly realized, known as the Shruti, the heard. Some are remembered through great teachers, and they taught us. So these are the sources of information. I'm rushing through all these things quickly because if you have questions, you can come back to it. I don't want to spend too much time on this.
And the poll, let me share the results of the poll so you can see.
Okay.
We had 62 out of 72 people participate. Panelists could not. Nobody's claims to be an expert. 0 out of 62. That's interesting. But lots of people, right? 17 said they've read them and they understand them. 21 have read and skimmed them. 21 people, 34% say they know of them, but never read or studied. And 3 people have already learned a little bit of the Upanishads from this first little bit of presentations because they knew nothing about them before.
And thank you very much for answering the survey. That gives an idea to me. So if you look at the Vedas, the way you can see my slide, I think. If you look at the Vedas, each Veda is made of a Samhita portion, the Brahmana portion, the Aranyaka portion, and the Upanishad portion. So each of these Vedas have number of Upanishads. And the Upanishads contain the summary or the key information. And that describe things like, moksha, what is salvation, why are we bound here, what happens after death, where were we before death, why are we being born? There are thousands of questions like this. Upanishads can answer. Upanishad answers. So that is the summary of the philosophy, Hindu philosophy in general. They are in the Upanishad, and that is the Vedanta philosophy. So if you say summary of Vedanta, Upanishad is one of the main texts which summarizes Vedanta. The other texts are Bhagavad Gita and the Brahma Sutras. So we are now, the topic today that is for the class starting in January, that is Isavasya Upanishad, is the first of the 10 Upanishads. There are probably 200 plus Upanishads, but the 10 are the major Upanishads. And we are picking up the first of the Upanishad, Isavasya Upanishad only for this class. And we will be dealing with 3 commentaries on it. One by Shankaracharya, the other by Vedanta Deshika, who belongs to the Ramanuja school of thought, and the other one is by Madhvacharya. So we will be analyzing three commentaries on the Isavasya Upanishad. Let me quickly step through and see if I don't want to say much here. We can come back if need be. I don't want to say. So the important topics of philosophy is, what is the true goal? That is the highest bliss. What is the nature of the bliss? What is the nature of true goal? And how many goals are there? And if goal is Brahman, what is the nature of Brahman? Nature of the Jivatma, who is the aspirant? What is the nature of me? What's the nature of the person who is looking for a solution? And how do I get to the goal? What is the nature of the final state? And how many obstacles are there in my path? How will I understand the obstacles and get over the obstacles? So these are all dealt with in the Upanishads in general. Okay? And we already talked about the Prasthanatraya, Upanishad, Brahma Sutras, and the Bhagavad Gita. And the 3, I'm considering 3 different systems, that is Advaita, Advaita, and Vishishta Advaita. But there are other systems like Achintya Veda, that is the Chaitanya Sampradaya, Shuddhadvaita, Vallabha Shuddhadvaita, and Bheda Abheda Advaita. There is one of that kind. I think it's Nimbarakacharyas. So there are 6 well-known systems. There may be more. Akshara Para Brahma Vedanta or something. Babs came out with that new Vedanta just 10 years ago or something. So there are different kinds of Vedantas, but these are the older systems. Advaita came earlier, then came Vishishtadvaita, then came Dvaita. So the Dvaita was in 13th century or something like that it was. So these systems are the earlier systems, and the later systems have a lot of information from these 3 systems. If you understand these 3 systems, you will get a very good feel for the next other systems actually, right? Then this is the Dvaita Advaita by Nimbaraka, Achintya Veda Veda Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shuddha Advaita Vallabhacharya, Akshara Purushottama Darshana by Swami Narayan Samstha, right? So I don't want to say much about my own personal journey at this point. Maybe we'll talk about it later because there are other speakers waiting. I would like to introduce Dr. Alva. One of the questions we had was, why should we study Isavasya Upanishad based on 3 separate Vedanta systems? Let me explain my question better, okay? I just picked up a pamphlet. I should have posted it on the video, I did not. In the pamphlet say, this is a Vedanta retreat in Bangalore, very well-known organization. Well-known organization has shown a pamphlet called, this pamphlet says Vedanta retreat. And below I saw 10 speakers. All of them were talking about only one Advaita, one Vedanta. That is Advaita Vedanta only from Shankaracharya and his students and his disciples of different order. So what people are thinking in the world, Vedanta means only Advaita Vedanta. This is the thought. And one can say they have the belief in it, they realize it, they understand it, and they're convinced about it. What's your problem? I don't have a problem. But will it be a complete system if you don't study other Vedantas? I would like to ask this question to Dr. M.A. Alvar now. Dr. M.A. Alvar,
yes, I'm coming online. Just give me a few seconds. Can you see me?
Yes, I can. We can.
So I'm extremely thankful to Dr. Krishna Kashyap and also the Hindu University of America for giving me an opportunity to share my views about the 3 systems of Vedanta and why we need to study them. So in about 8 to 10 minutes, I would like to say a few words in this regard as directed by Dr. Krishna Kashyap. So first, I would like to congratulate all of you for congregating in this webinar. In fact, I was really astounded to know that there are more than 70 participants today. As we all know, people are seldom interested in such topics because most of the people, including those who are exposed to this type of thought, are not at all interested in going deep into the subject. Many times they feel that they know what needs to be known, and therefore they say, we know all these things, why should we once again try to know it from someone else? But that is not the case in this regard. First of all, when we come to the Upanishads themselves, there is a very beautiful saying in the Kathopanishad which says, Avijñātam vijānatam, vijñātam avijānatam. If a person thinks that he knows everything or he has realized and he has nothing to know more, that means he is an ignoramus. Only when a person starts to realize the vastness, uniqueness, depth, etc. of the reality, he comes to know that one can never know the reality in its entirety. Only when he realizes that That is the beginning of the progress in the spiritual path. To realize this, one has to study the Upanishads, because the Upanishads are the best account by which one can try to progress towards knowing the reality. And when we study the Upanishads, it is very important to note that there have been several different interpretations of the Upanishads, because these topics are extremely profound, extremely deep, and it is quite natural that there are diverging views. So, for example, when a person sees a rose, a person who is an artist will say, "Oh, how beautiful it is, just see the color combination." A person who is interested in appreciating the smell of the rose, he will say, he will give a cursory look, he will have a cursory look at the redness and the color combination. He will be more interested in the odor, that the beautiful odor that it has to give. So each person will look at it from a different perspective. While it's very important to have a holistic perspective, it's also very important to know all the different viewpoints, because unless a person knows and appreciates the different viewpoints, he will not have a complete view of what the reality is. Therefore, we have to adhere to the views. We have to know the views first, to adhere to them, the different views of the different acharyas. Of course, we all know that Shankaracharya was the most important and the first acharya among the three acharyas to actually comment upon the Upanishads. And we all know that he was the first acharya among the three of Shankara, Ramanujacharya and Madhvacharya. And he is respected by one and all. And he has given a very, very versatile explanation of the Upanishads. Later, we had Sri Vedanta Deshika, who belonged to the tradition of Ramanujacharya and the Vishishtadvaita school of Vedanta, who has given a very, very wonderful account of what Isavasya has to offer as far as our lives are concerned. Vedanta Deshika was also a scholar of a very, very high caliber. Probably he could equal Shankaracharya in all respects. It's not an exaggeration to say so. And the views of Vedanta Deshika are extremely important if we have to understand the other perspective of the Upanishad. Similarly, later Madhvacharya, who was the founder of the Dvaita school of philosophy, he also has given a very, very beautiful commentary on the Upanishads. So, there is a very beautiful saying in Sanskrit with regard to the Shastras. It says, Ekam Shastra Madhiyanaha Navidyat Shastra Nishtaya. When you study only a single school of thought with regard to one particular aspect or subject, you don't get a holistic view of it. So it is very important to get all the views, or at least most of the important views, to understand the subject in the right perspective and also in the right light. In this context, it is very important to note that Sri Krishna Kashyap, a very versatile scholar and versatile speaker, has endeavored to touch upon all the three schools of Vedanta and bring out the essence of these three schools as far as the Isavasya Upanishad is concerned. As I just mentioned, learning the mere word-to-word meaning of the Upanishad, though is very beneficial, is not good for those who want to go deep into the subject. And even knowing the word-to-word meaning will be difficult, because many a times without the proper background, one will not be able to make out what the Upanishad is trying to convey. So he has taken up the unenviable task of giving all the three interpretations in a single class with regard to each of the mantras or the slokas of the text, because it's an extremely arduous task. It requires a lot of scholarship, lot of preparation, and also lot of versatility in speaking, all of which Sri Krishna Kashyap has in abundance. And I am sure by the end, if you all go the distance of following each and every mantra with the 3 schools of thought, you will be greatly benefited. And once you will be able to know the value of what is being taught only after you undergo the classes or you attend the classes. From that point of view, it is very important, and I exhort all of you to attend the class without fail and not only understand the text of the Upanishad, but also the hidden meanings of the Upanishads, which are enshrined in the 3 bhashyas. The meaning of the word bhashya is also very significant as far as the Indian tradition is concerned. The word bhashya is derived by the root bhasha vyaktayam vachi. That means when something that is said in a very beautiful manner, in a way that is very easily understood, which is profound, which is authentic, etc., then it is known as bhashya. That is, it should be the abhivyakti of the inherent meanings should emerge. Only when such a commentary is known as bhashya. Otherwise, it is known as tika, it is known as vyakhya, it is known as vritti, etc. These are all in English translated as commentaries. But in Sanskrit, each of them is different. So you don't call it the vyakhyana. You don't call Shankaracharya's commentary as a vyakhyana of the Isavasya Upanishad. We call it as the bhashya of the Isavasya Upanishad. Similarly, Madhvacharya's commentary is called the bhashya on the Isavasya Upanishad. So the word bhashya is very significant, as I just explained, because it gives you not only a holistic view, but also it lays threadbare the aspects that are hidden in the text of the Upanishads. And furthermore, the meanings that you will get from the Upanishads are extremely relevant, not only for our spiritual evolution, they are also very much relevant for our day-to-day lives. Today, all of us are drawn in various directions. So we should not lose our focus with regard to our goal. And at the same time, we cannot avoid being part of this world. We are part of a family. We have to take care of our family. If a person is married, he has to take care of his wife or of his spouse, rather. Then he or she has to take care of their children, if they have children. If they have parents, the parents have to be taken care of. Then the person has to earn a livelihood if he has to lead a life. So each person has to fulfill so many roles in life. And many a times fulfilling these roles become contradictory to each other. And they are most of the times contradictory to our spiritual evolution also. So if a person has to fulfill the roles and play this, do whatever is required to fulfill these roles in a very cogent and mutually complementary manner, the message given by Upanishads is extremely important. So not only will you be learning about what spirituality is all about, you will also get a lot of inputs with regard to how to resolve the conflicts in your day-to-day life also. From that point of view also, these classes will be very much relevant, and I am sure Sri Krishna Kashyap will be focusing on, though he may not focus, he will be touching upon these aspects, and they will automatically help in solving many of the day-to-day problems. And you can also understand the depth and width of the Sanskrit literature, the Upanishadic literature, its profundity, and several other aspects. So it will, I think, lead to an all-round personality development. And therefore, I exhort all of you to attend these classes without fail. And I would like to say that I would once again be part of the last class of this course and take your feedback and see how much you have learned, and I would also like to learn from Sri Krishna Kashyap all these aspects, and I will also I will try to be part of these classes. So I congratulate the Hindu University of America for organizing such a beautiful webinar wherein all the three bhashyas on a particular Upanishad is explained in a very dispassionate manner, but in a very emotionally involved manner by a person like Sri Krishna Kashyap. I congratulate all of you for being part of this webinar, and I hope all of you will go on to complete the course, because there is a saying in Sanskrit which I will mention and then conclude my intervention. So it says, Anarambho Manushyanam Prasamam Buddhi Lakshanam. Arabdhasya Antyagamanam Dvitiyam Buddhi Lakshanam. There are two types of persons in this world, two types of intelligent persons. The first class of intelligent persons are such that they will not start anything. They are happy with what they are. But the second class of intelligent persons are such that when they start something, they will ensure that they reach to the logical conclusion. And I am sure all of you belong to the second class of intelligent persons. So you have started off with this webinar, and I hope you will go the distance and complete the course and enhance your knowledge about the Isavasya Upanishad in its various dimensions. So with these words, I conclude my intervention. I am thankful to Sri Krishna Kashyap and also the Hindu University of America for having me speak in this seminar. Thank you very much. Namaste to all. Namah Paramarishibhyo, Namah Paramarishibhyaha.
Thank you very much, Dr. Alvar. Your kind words are excellent. Please know that Dr. Alvar is very, very knowledgeable. If I have a problem, I go pick up the phone and ask Dr. Alvar. Our next speaker is Dr. Padmanabhan. I don't know whether he can speak. Can you please speak and say if you're audible? Because there's some link problem with Dr. Padmanabhan, so we couldn't get him. He said he is listening to the Alvar's lecture, talk. So he is on the.
Yeah, I see him. I've invited him to be a panelist. He has to accept the promotion to become a panelist now.
One second. Swami, you have to accept the become the panelist. You have to accept. He already sent you a link to become the panelist. Can you see? Hello, he is there.
Yeah,
he's getting in. Excellent. Hello, please unmute yourself, Dr. Padmanabhan. Please unmute yourself. Hello. Can you hear us? He's not, he is muted, I think, right?
Yeah, he has to unmute himself. I've asked him to unmute.
Okay. I think now is okay. Now he's okay. Dr. Padmanabhan, can you please speak? Namaskar. Can you please speak?
Yeah. Can you listen to me?
Yeah, I can hear. We can hear.
Okay,
So let me quickly introduce Dr. Padmanabhan. Okay.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Dr. Padmanabhan is retired head of the Department of University of Madras, Department of Sanskrit and Vedanta. He probably has guided some 40 PhDs and 40 master's degree holders over 30, 40 years. And he has studied under one of the best scholars in the world in Vedanta. So we are very happy that he kindly accepted this request during his very, very busy schedule, which starts from probably 3 a.m. every day. We are happy. Thank you. Without much delay, let me request Dr. Padmanabhan to talk. Thank you. Namaste.
So thank you, Krishna Kashyap, for your nice introduction. At the outset, I would like to congratulate and welcome all the participants for this webinar. And it was so gladdening to see that there are at least some persons are interested in the study of this Vedantic lore. normally people are seldom interested in the study of these philosophical inquiries because it is a rather prosaic exercise to read all these things and waste of time. That's the normal belief. So we can postpone it at a later stage, in the later part of the life. That's the main thinking of people who are not interested in the study of the Vedanta. But speaking the truth, in this modern era where science and technology rules the world, this had taken a backseat. If you look into the Western philosophical study, I do not know how many of us have read Will Durant, The Story of Philosophy, wherein he clearly mentions about the distinction between philosophy and science. So philosophy literally means, in the Latin language, it's a love of wisdom. Say. So how many of us are going to get interested in attaining wisdom is a big question. So viewed from this angle, the study of Upanishads becomes very significant and very important. Well, Dr. Krishna Kashyap has given a beautiful introduction regarding the necessity of the study of these texts. He pointed out one thing. Why do we want to be happy? What are the ways and means to be happy? How happiness could be achieved? This is his main goal. Can this material world, material prosperity, can it provide happiness and peace of mind? So it has to be experienced, and the answer would be in the negative. No. All these things cannot provide happiness or peace. If any one of you have studied one of the beautiful lyrics of Sri Shankara Bhagavad Pada, Moha Mudgara or Bhajagovinda, there is one beautiful shloka, Artham Anartham Bhavaya Nityam Nasti Tataha Sukha Leshaha Satyam. He says, Artham means wealth or prosperity. Artham, Anartham, it always creates havoc. So you have to consider this. Artham, Anartham, Bhavaya. Please bear this in mind. Always. And there is no happiness, not even a speck, that not even an iota of happiness can be achieved from this. So, wealth cannot provide you all this happiness or misery. Bliss. So, how can we achieve this? It is only by way of knowledge and wisdom. This is for what all the sacred lore or the ancient lore has recommended to all of us, to the humanity. It is because humans alone can read and learn about all these things. Therefore, to achieve this, it is very essential that we look into this ancient wisdom. And by practicing or knowing this, history records that all of them had led a very, very peaceful and blissful life. There is no doubt about that. Therefore, the Hindu University is striving for such an excellence towards this direction, is to be congratulated for their venture. and inviting participants and those who are interested in this are really welcome. And as Krishna Kashyap has put, we will try to learn one by one, because the journey is a very long one. It will take a very long time. To admit frankly, I have been studying Vedanta for more than 45 or 50 years. To admit, still I am yet to master that. And I still consider myself to be a student of Vedanta and never mastering that. Of course, Professor Alwan has really said, Vijanatam nasti, etc. So I never claim myself to be a teacher or master of Vedanta, but still, I too would like to learn along with you. And let us have interactions. We will try to interact with each other and try to exchange our ideas with regard to this. Okay. Without going much into that other details or introductions, a broad classification of Veda and Vedanta. The Vedas are the sources of knowledge. Say, there is a dictum, there is a saying, Yoga Jnanam Tata Sankhyam Vidya Shilpadi Karmacha Vedat Shastrani Vijnanam Etat Sarvam Janardanat. Any knowledge that we are having had its root only from the Vedas. Because only from the Vedas we derived all branches of learning. Yoga Jnanam Tada Sankhyam Vidya, all arts. And everything is derived from the Vedas, and that too from the supreme reality. So Vedas are the source book of all knowledge systems. Say, we believe in that. This Veda is broadly classified as the ritualistic section and knowledge section. The ritualistic section deals about the actions that are to be performed and the results that accrue from those actions. When I say actions, it is related to the Vedic enjoined duties in regard to one's stage and state of life. It is mandatory that we have to follow that and attain as desired end, whatever we want. And when I say desired end, we call it as purusharthas or human endeavors, which are classified as dharma, artha, kama, and moksha with regard to righteous actions and achieving, gaining wealth and other benefits, and ultimately the final emancipation or what we call liberation or moksha. Of these human endeavors, the final one is said to be the eternal one, whereas the first three are only temporary. Maybe you will have this for some time and subsequently you will have to lose that. So this is the experience of the human. We have achieved that. So in order to achieve the final one, what are we to do? What is the means? What are the means to achieve that? Towards this, the Upanishads prescribe, yes, if you want to achieve this eternal happiness, there is only one thing. You have to realize the true nature of your own self and about the true nature of reality and the relation between that and how to accomplish that. This is the simple thing that the Upanishads prescribe about this. So the Upanishads, what we call the Vedanta, or the later portion of the Vedas, because it occurs at the fag end of each and every Veda. Hence it is called the Vedanta, the end portion of the Vedas. And all the Upanishads prescribe more or less a similar way, prescribe a similar means to achieve this happiness. And we know, you would have heard about this. The Vedas are 4 in number that are available to us now. Strictly speaking, the Vedas were infinite because Anantavai Vedaha. Vedas are infinite. There is an anecdote in a section of the Veda, in the section of the Veda called Kataka. It states, a sage by name Bharadwaja wanted to learn the Vedas in their entirety. And he started mastering the Vedas. His lifespan was about to end. So he could not master them. So he prayed to Brahma, sir, I need another one human span so that I can learn the Vedas. So he granted, yes, you will get another term. During the second term also, he could not complete. Again, he prayed for the third term. Even during that, he could not complete the study. So he thought he can get one more term. And at that juncture, the king of gods, Indra, disguised himself as an old man and sat on the banks of a flooding river, wherein the sage Bharadwaja used to take bath daily. On that morning, when sage Bharadwaja came, Indra was throwing handful of sand in that stream. Bharadwaja was amused by his action and inquired, oh sir, what are you doing? So this old man, Indra, replied, sir, I want to cross the river. If I throw this hand in this, I can build a bridge across and subsequently I will cross the river, he said. Bharadwaja laughed at him. Oh fool, what do you think? In this stream, you are throwing a handful of sand. Will it be there? And you are old enough. Can you do this? Then this old man shot back. Sir, when you are trying to learn all the Vedas, why not I try this? Then Bharadwaja realized and asked him, who are you? Then Indra showed his true form. Oh sage, I am Indra, king of gods. Your exercise is futile. So no, what you have learnt, he just showed the handful of sand. This much you have learned. You know how much you have to learn? He showed 3 big mountains nearby. These are all the Vedas you have to learn. So Bharadwaja realized and gave up his venture in this. So that's why we say, Ananta vai Veda. But we have lost so many Vedas, the source of knowledge, because people did not study them. We lost. It was to the credit of Vedavyas. His true name was Krishna Dvaipayana. It was to his credit that he retrieved whatever that was available to him and classified them as Rig, Yajus, Sama, and Atharva Vedas. And he divided them section wise. That's how we say there are only 4 Vedas now available to us. Even this 4 Vedas we are unable to master in the present day scenario. Okay. So this classification, these Vedas, of course, there are internal other classifications, Mantra, Brahmana, Aranyaka, and Upanishads. The broader classification is that the ritualistic section and the knowledge section. We will be dealing with the knowledge section because we have no time, or it's beyond our scope at this juncture to read about this ritualistic section of the Veda, but we are more concerned about the knowledge section. So the Upanishads are the sum and substance of the true wisdom. It is the summary of the wisdom of the ancient lore. And each and every Veda has their own set of Upanishads. The Rig Veda, you say, the Aitareya Upanishad will be there, and other Upanishads. For Yajurveda, you can see this Taittiriya Upanishad. And you see, the Atharva Veda has the Mundaka Upanishad, and the Sama Veda has the Brihas, Chandogya Upanishad. There are so many other Upanishads. Each and every Veda has them. As far as our scope is concerned, we have limited ourselves to Isavasya Upanishad. We literally mean Isha Upanishad, they say. But in its fullest sense, it is called the Isavasya Upanishad. This Upanishad belongs to the Shukla Yajurveda, or what we call the Vajasaneya Samhita. It is also known as Vajasaneya Upanishad. This Upanishad is also known as the Vajasaneya Upanishad or Isavasya Upanishad. It is called Isavasya because of its first hymn, which commences as Isavasyam Idagam Sarvam, etc. Because of the first expression, this Upanishad is being termed as Isavasya Upanishad. This is one of the shortest and sweet Upanishad, we should say that. And before that, there may be an inquisitiveness to know about the meaning of the etymology of the expression Upanishad. Sri Shankara Bhagavad Pada, in his commentary on Kataka Upanishad, provides this, the meaning and etymology of the expression Upanishad. This expression is derived from the word sad, from the verbal root sad, in the sense of destroying or moving, etc., with the preposition upa in that, and the suffix quip added to that. We call it as, in Sanskrit grammar, how the word formation is there. See, the verbal root, the prefix and the suffix constitute one word. In the Paninian system of Sanskrit grammar, we say Suptinktam Padam. A pada or word has so many aspects in them, and every word, be it a verb or noun, they have some derivation. Similarly, this word Upanishad derived from the word Sad and Ni and Upa prior to them in sense of month. Upa and Ni, these two words prior to this word, and later on the suffix added quip to that, the sense, the word Upanishad is derived. So what does it mean? Which means the word, as we said, sad, in the sense of removing or annihilating or destroying. What does it do? It destroys our ignorance. It destroys our ignorance and it leads us towards the Supreme Brahman, which is wisdom. So Shankara provides this expression beautifully in the Kataka Upanishad. I would like to quote the passage of the Kataka Upanishad. Sadher dhatoho visharana gati avasadhanartasya upanipurvasya kvipratyayantasya rupam Upanishad iti. Shankara says this. So what a beautiful explanation. I don't think no other commentator has provided such an explanation to this. So it, by destroying our ignorance and all our evils that are present, it leads us towards wisdom or the Supreme Brahman. And therefore, the term Upanishad is derived. What is this ignorance? This ignorance leads us to the cycle of transmigration. This is what Shankara says. He says, he quotes the passage, Nichayatam mrityumukat pramuchyate. Mrityumukat, from the mouth of death. What is death? The transmigration. It releases from this bondage and takes us to Supreme Brahman. Therefore, the expression Upanishad holds good. This expression, in that sense, there are so many Upanishads which one way or other, please bear it in mind that all Upanishads are unanimous in their teaching, namely, all of them preaches us how to get over this evil and realize our true nature and attain wisdom. All the Upanishads are on the same mode. But the ways and methods of teaching may differ, but the idea remains the same. Sri Ramanuja, in his text Vedanta Sangraha, he uses the passage Nana Vidhanam Vakhyanam Mukhyartha Aparityagena Yatha Sambhavati Tathaiva Varnaniya. The different passages of Upanishads, on an initial reading, might appear that they are contradictory and diversified in nature. Though they may appear to be so, but they are to be interpreted in such a way that there is no contradiction among them. This is the hypothesis made by Ramanuja in his Vedanta Sangraha. Therefore, the Upanishads are different and the passages may appear to be different, but the idea remains the same. And with regard to the different commentaries, of course, Professor Alvan was referring to that. Why there are so many commentaries? Why should be there when the Upanishads ideas remains the same? Why there should be so many commentaries? What is its importance? This is one question that would be occurring in everybody's mind. When we study these Upanishads, please bear it in mind. Please read them with an open mind and try to appreciate. But one thing, all the commentators of different traditions, their teaching is one, with a very sole purpose, how to remove our ignorance and achieve and accomplish wisdom. They are unanimous. How to attain liberation, how to achieve this moksha. All acharyas are unequivocal in their statement. This is that. The interpretation alone differs, but the goal remains the same. The goal remains the same, but the interpretation is different. Why such the difference in the interpretation? Because the rules of the language permits for such an interpretation. That is the reality. The rules of the interpretation, the language provides such an interpretation. For instance, we can take in judiciary. See, every country has its own set of laws or constitution, what we say. The constitution or the laws remains the same for every individual. But with regard to any specific case in judiciary, we can see the lawyers arguing for and against, quoting the laws profusely. It is because how do you interpret each and every law? So that is the basis. So here, similarly also, Sanskrit is such a wonderful language. It allows such interpretations without contradicting the basics of the concept that are enshrined in those texts. So we have the second point is that the metaphysical idea of each and every system. For instance, you take Advaita. In the system of Advaita, it is Brahman is the only real entity and all other things are illusory in nature. We say Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya, and the individual souls are nothing but the reflection of Brahman. Jivo Brahmaiva na aparaha. So this is the basic and metaphysical concept. So keeping that in mind, the passages of the Upanishads should be interpreted accordingly. So this is that. And if you take the other dualistic systems, say Vishishtadvaita or Dvaita or any other system, they admit different realities. Basically, in the system of Ramanuja or Vishishtadvaita, what we call, there are three realities. Accordingly, these passages should be interpreted or Dvaita systems. So therefore, keeping in mind the metaphysics or the concept of reality, different interpretations became inevitable. As I said, all the Upanishads are on the same mode. And of these, though there are a number of Upanishads, some 10 are considered as very important.
Just for me, Doctor, maybe, hello, maybe we should wait for a few minutes to see if there are any questions, because this particular webinar is only about not more about the subject, but to introduce them to the subject. And I think Dr. Ankur has a different structure for this lecture. Ankur, can you guide us as to what should be done and how to really take this to the next level?
Well, we only have 13 minutes left. We have about 11 questions in the Q&A box. There's been some nice, interesting chat. And we still have the students, your students, Prashantji and Venkatashanji, who haven't had a chance to speak. So I also have a poll that I would like to launch on the, if people are interested in the course. So we have a few things we'd like to do in the next 10 minutes or so. How would you like to proceed?
Okay. So, why don't we go to take up the questions and try to answer the questions first? Okay.
Okay. So let me go through the Q&A box. Hiteshji at the start asked, is happiness purpose of life? Blissfulness, does that equal seeing the world beyond senses?
In a way, yes. See, yes. Happiness, whether we like it or not, we always seek happiness. I have not seen a single person who says, I want to be sad, I want to be very upset, I want to experience pain. I don't think I've seen such a person.
Great. So let's keep moving quickly through the questions so we can get through all of them. Krishmittalji, thank you.
This time, I'm going to make the answers quickly because each questions maybe, we could even take like 10, 20 minutes to answer this question. So there's no point. We're going to make it quick for now.
Agreed.
Because I want to get to the purpose of this whole webinar. That is to see how many students are interested and things like that. So let's go to the next set of.
And we still have 80 people or so with us today. So thank you for sticking through. Krish Mittalji, thank you for your ongoing support. Yes, the webinar will be recorded and shared. And there was a whole side taking screenshots of slideshows and sharing it for your own study. Okay, but please don't publish it. Krishnaji and presenters go through a lot of work to develop their presentations. Tiwari-ji asks, if happens is our nature, why are we seeking it? Happiness must arise within us, or is it of its own nature? Is happiness of its own nature? Happiness must arise within us on its own, if it is our nature.
Happiness is connected to individuals, right?
Okay.
And are we all connected? Yes. Depending on the system of thought, we are all ensouled by one blissful entity. Right? So we are all connected, and definitely the source of happiness is from that one, from where everything comes to being, and which maintains everything, and to which all of us will go and dissolve eventually. Okay, I think there's a good time to ask this question before you see the decrease of number of people on the webinar, right?
Yeah. So this is just a general in courses, but I'm going to use that specifically for this course. Amishji is asking, do Puranas come under Smriti Granthas?
Yes.
Yes.
Puranas are within the Smritis. They are not Shrutis.
Okay. So Upanishads are all Upanishads Shruti.
Yes, all Upanishads are Shrutis.
All right. Great, Krishji, for that clarification. Kind of longer questions. I don't know if you can see the Q&A box as well. When we say knowledge of systems, which systems are we talking about, right? When the Upanishads were written through Shruti hearing, could there be a possibility of true meaning lost in translation and interpretation?
The thing is, it's a good question. as far as we know, the available Upanishads, Vedas, and all, they're maintained over years, right? See, the Vedas themselves prescribe different methods to keep the coding. As we we can talk about coding, right? What it is the way it has to be pronounced, and the words and different things. There are different pathas over years. Krama, Ghana, all these kind of pathas are there, which ensure that the information is transmitted to the next generation and next several generations without loss and without any corruption. So they have done it all along. Yeah, over time, can it all be corrupted or something like that? Languages change, people change. There may be different pathas. The southern India developed Andhra Pata, Dravida Pata. Some pathas were different. Some swaras may be different. Krishna Yajurveda, Shukla Yajurveda, there may be interpretation, the pronunciation and other may change. But essentially, whatever we have kept till now, so many 20 million, 20,000 or 200,000 or whatever we have as Vedas, they're significantly same and they're not changed. They're not corrupt.
Sir, Dr. Krishna Kashyap, I think this question requires a more elaborate answer.
Please go ahead, help us out.
See, the preservation of this, as you have been mentioned, it's been mentioned for a so long time. How they are preserved, particularly the Vedic texts are pronounced with a specific accent, what we call Udatta, Anudatta, Swarita, Hraswa, Dirgha, Pruta, etc. So these swaras or the accents, even the accents do convey the meaning. If the accents are changed, the meaning itself gets changed totally. Therefore, the Vedas were preserved in the oral tradition, what we call the Shruti, Shruyate Nityam. It is being handed down orally without getting changed. In the Vedas they doesn't have any written form, because if you see the date of the Vedas, of course, they differ. Western scholars and the Orientals, they differ. The minimum period could be 2,000 or 3,000 years back. And what are the scripts that were used to write down these Vedas? And if you see the writings in India, maximum is you can get only the Ashokan edicts about 1,800 years back and so on. But prior to that, what were the script available? We cannot decipher now that. Therefore, the Vedas were handed down orally, and this oral tradition, as you have marked, Padapata, Ghanapata, Jatapata, and so on. Say it can be represented in the mathematical form, say each and every expression 1, 2, 3, 4. So it is proved the text 1, 2, when they are written as Ghana, 1, 2, 2, 1, and then 2, 3, 3, 2, and then 3, 4, 4, 3. In the Jata method, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, 2, 1, 3. And similarly, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, and then 3, 2, 4. So one has to learn by rote such a method so that the text will never get corrupted at any point of time. You can see the Vedas, there is no Pata Veda at all. There is no Pata Veda or difference in reading with regard to the Vedas, and even in the Swaras. That's how the Vedas were preserved for several eons. And it is, of course, the difference is that we say the Vedas are Nitya, Apaurushaya, or impersonal in nature. Maybe with regard to the Kilas and only the other small texts, as you said, the Dravida Pata or something. But even in that, there can be no Swara Veda or difference in the accent. Otherwise, the entire meaning gets corrected. That's how the texts were preserved and handed down to us.
Great. Thank you for that elaboration. The two last kind of questions, and maybe I can use this to dovetail into our other panelist, is Chris Mittal and some other people asking, I think we mentioned, right, you have to have a proper background or at least be prepared to understand the Upanishads. It could be, I don't know, in some places it's dangerous to try and learn the Upanishads without being prepared properly or having a good teacher or a proper guru. And it can't be taught to new generations or it can, and how can it be taught to new generations growing up in the West? So we have two folks, Prashantji and Venkatashanji, who've taken the course and might be good to answer. And Sri Krishnaji, maybe you can give some context to that. Who is prepared to learn? How do you become prepared to learn? Why is this course the place so that you can learn the Upanishads? If you want to give it to Prashantji or Venkatashanji, or if you want to give some context.
I think I can speak. You guys can hear me, right? So I kind of got interested in it. Like I grew up in the Madhva culture, where from my family background. So I had some background when I was in India. But when I came here, and then we kind of got involved in all the other things. So it really didn't get a chance to pursue any further. So, but I think if you have interest, that inclination is there, then I think it will be, you could pick up, maybe depending on, irrespective of your background, whether as long as you have an interest, and it will be much harder if you don't have the background. That's what I feel.
Actually, I want to add something to what Prashantji said. The course will be taught in English. Every letter, every word of Sanskrit would be explained in English. So you don't really need to know Sanskrit. But if you know Sanskrit, you will enjoy it better. That's me. That's how I've been trying to design the course. Venkateshanji, what do you think?
Yeah. So, just like Prashantji, I had training from a Visishtadvaitic background. I hail from a town called Kadalur, which is closer to a place called Tiruvahendrapuram. So, I wanted to learn the Vedantic philosophies from source instead of reading from English text, as Professor Arwa mentioned. English doesn't do justice to Sanskrit. And so I initially got, I have been listening to his Sri Bhashyam class for a few years, and then that's how I came to know about Sri Krishna Kashyap's courses. And the first one, this is the third course I took, the Isavasya Upanishad, and the first two were on general philosophy, Advaita, Visishtadvaita, and Dvaita, and then on Bhagavad Gita in particular, about from the three perspectives. And I got a lot of misconceptions cleared, because the modern day literature is not what even Sri Shankaracharya was talking about in Advaita philosophy. I see a lot of differences, and reading from the source really helps. And as Krishnaji said, Sanskrit, even though if you know it's helpful, but you don't need to know Sanskrit. Tamil also is helpful if you know, and Kannada also, particularly from the Madhva philosophy. But it is basically understanding for yourself what these acharyas were, their interpretations on these philosophy, on these various Vedantic texts. It really enhances your knowledge and be more, enhances your wisdom, and it helps not only for your spiritual growth, but as Arvar and Dr. Padmanabhan said, helps you with your day-to-day life also. I really enjoyed the course. This is the third course I took, and I really like this style of teaching of Sri Krishnaji also.
One question I have, Venkatesh, many people may feel that we tend to put down one system of thought while uplifting and stressing on some other system of thought. Was the course done with sincerity that we exactly represent the Acharya's views without altering it or without, how did we deal with it?
It's a dispassionate look at the three each Acharya's commentary or bhashya. That it is that I have to commend you on that you in the three courses that I have seen all were done without trying to impose one viewpoint, even though I have my biases initially with Ishtadvaita and still came up with my own biases, but the course itself taught by you because of your training under Dr. KSV and others, as you mentioned during the courses, it's very dispassionate. You represent what the Acharyas explained, and it is as if when you are teaching that particular bhashya, you have become a follower of that philosophical thought. You are giving it out. So that's how I felt. So you are doing a dispassionate discourse of the bhashyas.
Yeah, I completely agree on that. I mean, I think I took the course for the same reason, like Kashyapji mentioned that there was a Vedanta retreat, there was only focus on the Advaita. So that's what I would find in everywhere. But this course really helped me to get all the three perspectives, and that's what I was looking for. Basically, it was very difficult to get the other sides, like the Vishishtadvaita and Dvaita philosophy details. So this was a very good course in terms of understanding all the three different like divisions in this related to Isavasya.
We have time in this course, we can go through some of the ideas of reconciliation between these three schools of philosophy, systems of philosophy, right? That we could go through, and some of these ideas, most of these ideas, nothing is original. Most of these ideas I derived and learned from my acharyas. Of them, recently Sri KSV Swami has done a phenomenal work in trying to reconcile these three systems of thought. And he has even written books on it as to how these three systems could be reconciled. But people may believe in this reconciliation process or not. Each one, they can have their own convictions. This is not a class to try to push one ideology or on my own ideology or my own knowledge onto anybody. It's just that I want to introduce what these acharyas talked about, why they held their views. So that is the purpose of this course. Anyway,
great. And on that point, I think that's a really good place to take this conversation and go into a transition to close. We have the poll open. 38 out of 56 people have filled out the poll. I know it's a little confusing. Just say yes, definitely, if you want to take this course. Yes, but I have questions if you're in that space, maybe no in the future. Thank you for our students who are enrolled in programs, who are continuing to participate, and people who have taken courses, and of course our faculty, our students for being here. Thank you everyone for participating and engaging in this conversation and this dialogue. Obviously, this could go on, and there's so many more questions, so many other things, and that's why Hindu University of America does these free webinars every Saturday, and we're going to have a lot this month on so many different subjects. But Krishnaji, it's always a pleasure to have you. Maybe a closing a thought or two from you to end the webinar, if you want to do a shloka or however you want to take us out.
Who may be interested in the course and everything like that, right? That is, you already have it. So just my closing thoughts are, first, I would like to pay my respects to Dr. Padmanabhan and Dr. Alvar, who have accepted my request to be in this and share their experiences. Obviously, the time given to them is very little. They have lectured for hours and hours over decades, like 40 years or something like that or more. They have done so much of work. So they have, if I have any doubts, I will always ask them. So I first would like to thank our respected speakers, and thank all the students who came here to share their experiences. And if there are any more questions you have, I'm open to answer. Any more questions?
No. Well, I mean, we have a few, just like what is the best translations for the Upanishads for English, and all those sorts of things we can include in the follow-up email to give people direction.
In a follow-up email. Yeah, that will be easier that way. Yeah. Right. Thank you for being there. Like most of you have stayed, more than 50 people have stayed all along in this webinar. We thank the audience, every one of you. We hope you get the knowledge and find out the right place to get the knowledge and enjoy in your lives. That's what I'm saying.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Dhanyavad. Namaste.
Namaste.